Conversation simulation. Canada, BC. Taiwanese professor. I'm always in awe of Canada's vast natural scenery. The Rocky Mountains and Niagara Falls are on my must-visit list. Have you been to these places? What was your experience like? Canadian professor. Yes, I've been to both. The Rockies are particularly breathtaking, and Niagara Falls is such an iconic spot. You'll love both. Taiwanese professor. I'm looking forward to it. I've heard that the natural beauty is complemented by a rich multicultural tapestry here. It's fascinating how the maple leaf has become a symbol of this diversity. What's your take on the cultural identity here? Canadian professor. It's quite diverse indeed. The maple leaf is a symbol of our unity amidst diversity. You'll find a mix of cultures, especially in cities like Vancouver and Toronto. Taiwanese professor. I can't wait to explore more of it. Speaking of local experiences, I've heard much about ice wine. It seems quite unique to Canada. Have you tried it? Any recommendations? Canadian professor. Ice wine is a must-try. It's sweet and intense. The Okanagan Valley is famous for it. I'd recommend visiting a winery if you have time. Taiwanese professor. That sounds delightful. I'll make sure to try some. And regarding popular sports, hockey seems almost synonymous with Canada. Is it as popular as they say? Canadian professor. Absolutely, hockey is a big part of our culture. It's more than a sport, it's a community event. If you get the chance, experiencing a game is quite something. Taiwanese professor. I'd love to experience that. It seems like a great way to understand the local culture and passion. Thank you for sharing all this. It's given me a lot to look forward to and explore during my visit. Conversation simulation. Japan, Tokyo or Osaka. Taiwanese professor. I am fascinated by the harmonious blend of tradition and modernity in Japan. The elegant kimonos and serene tea ceremonies are so captivating. Have you ever participated in a tea ceremony? Japanese professor. Yes, I have. It's a profound experience that reflects the deep cultural heritage of Japan. The ritual and mindfulness involved are quite unique. Taiwanese professor. It sounds incredibly enriching. And alongside these traditions, I notice Japan's vibrant modern culture, like anime. It seems to be a huge phenomenon here. Are there any particular anime or cultural spots in Tokyo or Osaka that you'd recommend? Japanese professor. Certainly, places like Akihabara in Tokyo or Nipponbashi in Osaka are hotspots for anime culture. You'll find a variety of shops and cafes themed around popular anime. Taiwanese professor. I'll have to visit them. Switching gears to the beautiful nature, I've heard that the cherry blossom season is a significant time here. Is there a particular place or way you enjoy viewing sakura? Japanese professor. Indeed, cherry blossom viewing, or hanami, is a beloved activity. Many people enjoy picnics under the blossoms in places like Ueno Park in Tokyo or along the Okawa River in Osaka. Taiwanese professor. That must be a breathtaking sight. And of course, one cannot forget the culinary delights. I'm eager to try authentic sushi and ramen. Any local favorites you might suggest? Japanese professor. For sushi, Tsukiji Market in Tokyo is renowned, and for ramen, there are so many varieties. Each region has its own style, so I'd recommend trying a few different places to experience the range. Taiwanese professor. Thank you for the recommendations. The diversity and depth of Japanese culture are truly impressive. I look forward to exploring and experiencing as much as I can during my visit. In this conversation, you've navigated through various aspects of Japanese culture, from the traditional to the modern. Conversation simulation. USA Chicago. Taiwanese professor. I'm intrigued by the rich history and vibrant culture in the United States, especially here in Chicago. The city is known for its influential architecture and, of course, jazz. Have you been to any jazz bars here that capture the essence of the Chicago jazz scene? American professor. Absolutely, Chicago's jazz scene is legendary. I'd recommend checking out some spots like the Green Mill or Andy's Jazz Club. They offer a real taste of Chicago's musical history. Taiwanese professor. That sounds perfect for a music lover like me. I'm also fascinated by American icons like the Statue of Liberty and historical figures like various presidents. How do you think these symbols and personalities have shaped American culture? American professor. Well, they are deeply ingrained in our identity. The Statue of Liberty represents freedom and democracy, while each president has contributed uniquely to our national story and policies. Taiwanese professor. It's fascinating to see how history and values are reflected in such symbols. Moving to a lighter topic, I've heard Chicago is famous for its unique style of pizza. Any particular places you'd recommend to experience the best local pizza? American professor. Oh, you must try Chicago's deep dish pizza. Lou Malnati's and Giordano's are quite popular. They're a bit different from what you might be used to, but definitely worth trying. Taiwanese professor. I'll make sure to try them out. And, of course, America's influence on global culture is significant, especially through Hollywood. Are there any films or shows that you think capture the American spirit or Chicago's vibe particularly well? American professor. There are so many, but classics like The Blues Brothers really showcase Chicago's musical and cultural landscape. For a more contemporary take, shows like Chicago Fire or Chicago PD give a dramatic glimpse into the city's life. Taiwanese professor. Thank you for the suggestions. It seems there's so much to explore and understand about American culture and history, especially here in Chicago. I look forward to experiencing it firsthand and sharing these stories back home. In this conversation, you've covered a range of topics that showcase American culture and history, particularly focusing on Chicago's unique contributions. Conversation simulation. Singapore. Taiwanese professor. Singapore is renowned for its incredible diversity and prosperity. I'm particularly interested in learning about the harmonious coexistence of the four major races here. How do you think this diversity has shaped the city's culture? Singaporean professor. Indeed, our diversity is our strength. The Chinese, Malay, Indian, and Eurasian communities contribute to a melting pot of cultures, reflected in our festivals, languages, and everyday life. It's what makes Singapore unique. Taiwanese professor. It's truly fascinating. I've also heard about the iconic Merlion and the nickname, Lion City. Can you tell me more about their significance? Singaporean professor. The Merlion is a symbol of Singapore's humble beginnings as a fishing village and its transformation into a prosperous city. The Lion City comes from our name, Singapura, which means Lion City in Sanskrit. Taiwanese professor. I see, that's quite symbolic. And speaking of prosperity, Gardens by the Bay is a testament to Singapore's forward thinking and innovation. Have you spent time in this remarkable place? Singaporean professor. Yes, it's one of my favorite spots. The futuristic design and sustainability efforts are impressive. It's a great place to relax and enjoy nature amidst the city. Taiwanese professor. I'm looking forward to visiting it. Switching to the culinary side, I'm excited to try local dishes like chili crab. Are there any other local delicacies or food experiences you'd recommend? Singaporean professor. Chili crab is a must-try. Also, consider visiting Chinatown or Little India to experience the full range of our culinary diversity. Hawker centers are also a great way to try different dishes at affordable prices. Taiwanese professor. That sounds delicious and adventurous. Singapore's blend of tradition and modernity, along with its culinary diversity, really paints a vibrant picture. I appreciate your insights and can't wait to explore more.